Let me spare you any embarrassment and ensure that everything goes smoothly when you have a Japanese wrestler booked on your card. It's next on Till We Make It. I'm Mike Quackenbush, and this is Till We Make It. Throughout my career, I have been very fortunate because I've worked in front of the cameras as a professional wrestler, referee, ring announcer, and commentator. But I have also worked behind the scenes in wrestling as a promoter, booker, agent, coach, and consultant. And I call upon the sum of all of those experiences and a bunch of other ones too, each and every week right here on Till We Make It. And if you aren't yet a member of the Till We Make It tribe, what are you waiting for? Subscribe right now or take your education to the next level. I'd like to invite you to come and join our community over on Patreon. There's more than 500 exclusive posts waiting for you to unlock. Memberships start for as little as $5 a month. I just published a Patreon exclusive video earlier this week that's all about my guidelines for ringside roles, like managers or valets. And this upcoming Monday, I'm working on one about my quest to master 1,000 holds in wrestling. We would love to have you as part of the community. Today's video calls on my long experience promoting and booking wrestling events, and I'm dedicating this one to the other Mike Q in wrestling. Mike, this one's for you. I've got 11 do's and don'ts of booking Japanese wrestlers. Ready? Here we go. Up first, you do want to clarify whether the wrestler wants to be paid in yen or dollars so that you can be prepared. That might mean a trip to the bank before the event arrives to get those US dollars converted into Japanese yen. And if you're in the midst of a negotiation and you've got to do some quick calculations, here is a fast and dirty way of converting yen to dollars. Not always 100% precise, but it'll give you a ballpark. Knock the 2 zeros off the end of the yen amount to get the dollar amount. 100 yen is $1. 5,000 yen is $50. Up second, you want to get agreement on the finish to the match at the time you are making the booking. During that initial negotiation, you're talking about travel, you're talking about pay, that's when you agree on the finish to the match, especially if you're dealing with someone of star status in Japan. This is a big difference between the culture of pro res and the culture of pro wrestling here in the United States, where often we as working pros show up and only find out what the marching orders will be the day of the event. You want to have agreement and clarity about the expected finish at the time you're making the booking. And I've seen this done wrong. I can think back to an event I was booked on more than 10 years ago now where Kota Ibushi was wrestling in the main event. And there wasn't a small change being made to that finish. It wasn't Choto. It was a big change. And it created a whirlwind of controversy that involved waking people up in Japan to get them on a conference call about everyone agreeing to this new finish to the main event of a show that was being watched by 300 wrestling fans. Save yourself that headache. Get it done up front. If you're learning something from today's video, won't you please take a moment right now and leave a like-a-palooza down below. Share this video with others and tell YouTube to share it as well. That's what the like engagement signal does, or so I am told. This third one is a big one, so listen carefully. You don't want to get the bow versus handshake thing wrong. You know what I'm talking about? There's all kinds of photos and videos of world leaders meeting with the Japanese and getting this wrong. They go in for the handshake, oh no, it's the bow. Or they go for the bow, oh no, it's actually the handshake first. How do you know which comes first? And the only real answer to this is you are going to watch what they are telegraphing. A proper and professional bow in Japan starts with hands at the side, and it's only a head bow. Bowing from the waist is too much in this situation. And a bow with proper form keeps the back straight. So, as you're squaring up with the Japanese wrestler that you are meeting, just watch for the hand. If the hands stay at the side, that's an indicator it's bow first, then shake. But as soon as you square up, if they bring their right hand up, it's going to be shake, then bow. Just be patient enough to watch for the telegraph, and you just have to pay attention to their hands, and you'll know which is coming first. Up fourth on my list of do's and don'ts is this one. You're going to need to have two presents. One is for the wrestler that you have booked, and the second one is for the promoter, owner, president, or CEO of their home promotion. And even relative freelancers back home still call some organization their home promotion. Yeah, they might be independent, but they work all the time for Michinoku Pro, for DDT, for Big Japan Wrestling, for that seafood one that Super Delphin runs that I can never remember the name of when I'm recording. That one. You want to make sure that you have two presents. And after the initial pleasantries are all over and things settle down, that's a great time to make that presentation. It's also important what it is that you are giving as the gift. Here's my golden rule. You want something that represents the city or the region where you are from. You do not want to give a gift that is readily available in Japan or through Amazon.com. Here's an example. If your home city is famous for a type of chocolate that is only made there, that is the perfect gift to have ready for this exact scenario. Up next, do not assume that the Japanese wrestler you have booked on your event is going to change in the same locker room with everybody else, especially if they enjoy superstar status back home or they are possessed of a little bit of an ego, which is entirely possible. You're going to have to make sure there is a private dressing room at the ready, and you will offer that. They may choose to decline very politely and then sit with everybody else in the locker room, but you need to make that effort to ensure you're making the right impression. You do want to assign someone to function basically like their young boy. Now I know young boy culture is not part of how we train here in the US. It's not how we come up here in the West, but it is very much part of Japanese pro-res culture. So pick a rookie, maybe someone who one day wants to wrestle in Japan, and you're going to make them the assistant to the Japanese wrestler for that day. This is the person who carries their bags, drives them around, gets sent on little errands if they want something to eat before the event begins, make sure that they get into their hotel room and that they feel safe. All of those little details are going to be smoothed out by this young boy, someone who will basically assist the Japanese wrestler at every step of the way and function like their assistant. And closely related to that one, you and whoever's going to be assisting the Japanese wrestler want to make sure you have a Translator app on your smartphone, something that can listen to Japanese speech and then translate it into your native language, English, Spanish, whatever the case might be. Even if that means you're going to pony up $4.99 to have this app on your phone, it's going to make life so much easier once the Japanese wrestler lands here. So go ahead and splurge, get yourself a Translator app. This next one is one I've gotten wrong myself. That's why I'm choosing to warn you about it. Do not anticipate that the Japanese wrestler will pay for their own food, especially if they're working for you across several days. Maybe they're in for a weekend loop. While they are in the care of your company, there is an unexpressed expectation that the company is paying for their food. Even if that means you're going to instruct the young boy, the assistant, who's going to be shadowing them all weekend long to save up their receipts so you can reimburse the assistant later for everything that the wrestler ate and drank. But don't get this wrong. They are expecting something more than just the hotel with the free continental breakfast. You're going to make sure they want something to eat right before the event. You're going to handle it. They order room service. Guess what? They're expecting you to pick up the tab. Up ninth, you do want to have good form when exchanging business cards. And this is still a relevant part of Japanese culture. When you are handing your business card to the wrestler you have booked, you're going to do it with two hands. You look at them directly and hand it like this, holding it by its top edges. It's not something that's done with one hand. It's not something where you toss the card. This exchange is important. Think of it as having the same relevance as a firm handshake at the end of a business deal in the United States. You're going to hand that business card over using both hands. And closely related to that last item, when you are paying the wrestler, that money is going to be inside an envelope, not handed loose, and you'll present the envelope with both hands as well. Just like you would your business card, have good form. Last but definitely not least is my golden rule for dealing with Japanese wrestlers. Remember that when negotiating anything, maybe means no. Because it is considered impolite to say no in the Japanese culture, maybe takes its place. Maybe means no. So when a Japanese wrestler responds to something you are proposing by saying, maybe, that means no. Have no illusions about this. Oftentimes, because of how we use maybe here in the West, we think there's wiggle room. There's no wiggle room. Take it from a guy who had to learn these lessons the hard way. Maybe means no. Is there anything essential I left off my list of 11 do's and don'ts? Drop it for me down below right now. And especially if you learned something new today, I would love to know that. Will you leave a comment for me? Appearing on screen right now is a closely related video I made some time ago that you might also enjoy. And also appearing on screen is that boxy logo for Patreon. If you click on it, it's going to take you directly to my Patreon page where you can discover all the things you'll unlock at the 3 levels of membership. We'd love to have you.